I believe this year will be probably one of the wildest and most significant and life-changing year of crypto history. There will be a lot of opportunities on the market, but I also think that this year will be very, very painful for many different reasons. In this video, I want to do like a quick recap, first of all, of last year, because it was quite a mouthful and very eventful. We had very significant things that happened last year. We're gonna do an overview of what happened, and I'm also gonna share with you what I believe were the key points, key takeaways, at least from me, and we can of course discuss this further. And then I'm gonna share with you why I do believe this will be a very painful year, at least in the first half. We're gonna do some price prediction for Bitcoin because obviously that's the daddy. And that's what I'm mostly interested in and what I believe will move the markets. And of course, I'm going to share with you my plan, like what I'm trying to do in the first half and the second half, and where do I see things from here. So let's kick it off. And actually, first of all, I want to start with this meme because it perfectly describes the last few weeks and actually the last couple of months. We're just waiting for something to happen. Price has been stagnant. But this has always given us a little bit of breathing room and time to reflect on what happened, because it was quite a lot what happened. And if we start last year, 2022, in the beginning, we had a big boom in NFTs. We hit all-time high, and I don't think NFTs are going anywhere. Maybe it won't be all speculative JPEGs. Maybe we'll actually do something meaningful with NFTs, but I'm not completely disregarding them because this was just their first cycle. And once crypto starts picking back up, I'm really excited about the NFT world overall. After that, a little bit later in the year, in February, we had the war in Ukraine started. It's still ongoing. It's still a terrible event. And so we still don't know how long-term this will affect the markets and the people, obviously. What's one key point that I was taking from that event is that on the crypto side, there were a lot of people that were using crypto at that time to take their money or wealth and move away from their country or move their assets. And that's obviously one of the reasons why we need crypto. And also Ukraine itself as a country, it started a donation campaign on crypto. Not the greatest reasons why crypto is getting adopted, but still I think it shows its value in such kind of crises. Then in March, we had the Fed rate hiking cycle. I always had a difficulty saying this. And it's still ongoing. We don't know where this will go. We don't know where the Fed will stop. They'll probably wait for something to break because that has been their message and their goal, I think, in the last several months. But this is truly one of the first times in history where we had so many rate hikes pretty much for almost a year already going on and still going on. So that will be interesting what will happen here. After that, it was one of the first of many crypto collapses. And really, we found out many interesting things here when Luna collapsed and when UST depecked. Obviously, this was an unsustainable model for a stable coin, the logarithmic one. And pretty much Luna went from top 10 to a zero project in like 2 or 3 days. And obviously, this also crashed the market with it, which was terrible. I know a lot of people that lost a lot of money. And I mean, they wrote it down to zero. When it was down 50% the first day or so, nobody sold because they were like, what the hell is going on? Nobody knew what's going on there. I didn't suffer here. I didn't lose any money, but definitely it was, in my opinion, the most painful event of the year when it comes to crypto. Although people kind of forget about it already, but I think it was really something that was really bad, and it still has its effects on. After that, we saw Celsius pausing withdrawals somewhere around here in June. This was a great start of the summer, obviously. And what we found out here, obviously, the first one is that it was unsustainable to have such kind of yield. And it was unsustainable for people to think that there's pretty much zero risk, because there are a lot of people, including myself, that were holding quite significant amounts of money in Celsius. Luckily, actually, I didn't leave most of my money there. I left just a really small sum. I managed to withdraw most of them. However, I still got stuck with some funds here. And definitely this shines a light that we need a lot of regulation, and that's one of the probably main outcomes of last year, that we really need regulations. And I do think these will bring more clarity and better systems in place for crypto. And long term, I do believe this is bullish, because also it will bring a lot of adoption on the institutional side, which we're going to talk in just a little bit. Then we started seeing CPI getting higher and higher. We hit, I think, during the summer, 7.3 was the maximum CPI. But also one very important thing we learned here is that crypto is not a hedge against inflation, especially when we're in an overall downtrend. And also we learned that we're very correlated with stocks. You can see the full year has been a bear trend. And we're going to look into the 12-month chart in just a little bit. But stocks were down like 20, 30%. The indices and individual stocks were trading pretty much like shitcoins. So you can see that we're very correlated, and we continue to be with the stock market. And definitely inflation is hitting us hard. Although we got it under control in the past months, maybe it will start decreasing further. Still, Bitcoin is considered a risk-on asset, and people are not using it as a hedge for inflation. A little bit later in August, we had the news that BlackRock started offering crypto to its customers, and together with it, through the year, we were hearing this about, if I remember, it was Fidelity, also JP Morgan. Although Jamie Dimon is talking a lot of bad things about crypto, that they're pet rocks and whatever, they're still offering crypto to customers together with BlackRock, which is like the biggest hedge fund out there. And they have so many assets under management that even really small percentages here for crypto long term will be very significant. And this is just one of the steps of wider adoption that we're going to see. And actually one of the rarer positive news that didn't get a lot of coverage last year, because obviously bad news sells better. But I think long term, this is very significant. Also, BlackRock has so much power that they can influence people in the government, and obviously once we have the regulations, they could be not that bad overall for the crypto industry, because I think a lot of people are lobbying for crypto. One of them was also quite a big lobbyist, but turned out to be a complete scammer. I'm going to mention it in just a minute. After that, in September, we had the merge of Ethereum. We're officially now a proof of stake network for quite a while now, for a few months. Everything went smoothly. And actually, this for me was a very surprising and very good to see this massive update to undergo without any kind of issue or nothing. Pretty much it just like it didn't happen. This brought down the inflation of Ethereum by 96% or something. And long term, I think Ethereum has the potential to be very deflationary. I have a separate video on Ethereum, so we're not going to touch on it that much. You can go and watch it if you want to. But definitely, I think this is very bullish and a great win for the industry overall. And last but not least, here we had the collapse of FTX in November. Sam Bankman-Fried pretty much is delusional. He's now in custody. He'll be charged with many different things. I really hope he gets jail time. I don't know how this will work. A lot of celebrities got hit also with FTX. The overall losses were actually not that big compared to Luna, but still something like 8 billion, I think, or $10 billion got lost. These were all customer funds. And again, another thing that we saw here is that we really need to get things under control, because we are still in the wild west of crypto. Although there are billions and even sometimes trillions of dollars on the line in crypto, this is really ridiculous what we're seeing. And even very, very smart people are doing very, very stupid things. So just be very cautious also when you do your own research and your own investing. Don't trust anyone. And yeah, that's pretty much the overview of the year. As you can see, it's been quite an eventful one. And if we look at the chart, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper, obviously, last few months, as I mentioned, has been pretty flat, but nobody really cares about this right now. What most people care about, and what I'm actually mostly interested in, is what's going to happen from now on. And as we can see, if we go to the monthly chart, you'll be able to see here that we closed the year, obviously, and let me just remove the drawings. for a second. So here we had the year obviously closing at 64% down. However, what we're seeing here is a very clear pattern. And let me just move to a log chart. Maybe we can see it a little bit better here with the zoom. You'll see here a very clear pattern. So we had a red year here in 2014. Then we had 3 consecutive green years. Then we had another red year in 2018. Then we had 3 green years. And now we are having a big fat red year just closing. So the question is this pattern going to repeat itself? I'm not that convinced, to be honest, just because everything in crypto until now, every model that we've had has pretty much been proven wrong or not working well. So every hope, like what we're seeing here, I think it's taken with a grain of salt. And definitely, I think something like this might play out this year, but it will be a lot more painful and for a very specific reason. And let me show you. Let me just fix this. If we go to a weekly chart, you'll see that it doesn't matter how you chart it. We're not going to focus so much on charting this this time around, because as you can see here, we have a descending line. We just broke out of one. These are very dynamic. So if we use one from the all-time high here, we can also say that we're just broken out of this one. But then we're still in a downtrend. We still have the lower highs, lower lows. And after so much pain last year, everyone's kind of hopeful for this year. But in the first 6 months, we have a big unknown, which is, are we going to have a massive recession or are we going to have a light recession? I don't think there's doubt now that we are going to have some kind of recession. We won't just magically be fine in the next week or so or month or so. Probably earnings will still decrease. Probably the Fed will cause something to break. So there are a lot of unknowns and a lot of uncertainty. And once the volatility is down like this, as you can see, this is the lowest of volatility that we've had pretty much in the past since 2020, so right after the crash. This is the last 2 months has been pretty uneventful. And if this continues, the waiting game of something to happen, of something to break, are we going to have another leg down? Are we going to have a final capitulation somewhere here? Are we going to have another cataclysmic event in crypto? Maybe Genesis will fall. Maybe USDT, which we had a lot of FUD last year. Is it going to collapse? What's going to happen there? So there are a lot of unknowns. And if something breaks, obviously, we're going to have a final capitulation. And imagine, especially for retail investors like most of us, imagine after having so much pain in last year and enduring it and probably surviving it. After that, imagine if we get something like, okay, me as a retail investor, now I'm like, yeah, that's getting better. I'm seeing the light in the tunnel here. And suddenly we got another leg down. This will be very painful. And there are a lot of people that quit during this time. And they're like, I hate crypto. This will never come back. We're going to go to zero, whatever. I don't want to get involved into it. This is the worst trade of my life, whatever. And once this happens, if it happens, it's actually the best opportunity that we will ever see in crypto in the next years. And I don't care where it's going to happen or what will be the trigger, if it's going to be a recession, whatever. I don't really care. But if this happens, I know that I'm personally going to be loading the bags, and it will be uncomfortable. I can tell you this. And people that has been through this in the last cycles, they know the feeling, but it's going to be very painful to start buying Bitcoin at $10,000, because at that point, everyone will be talking about $4,000 or crypto going to zero or whatever. It will be very hard to do this. But I know that I'm personally going to be doing this because I don't think crypto is going anywhere. And especially with what happened last year, we know that this is the long game. And definitely, we're going to see at least another bull cycle, even more, I believe, long term. But definitely, I don't think this will be the end of crypto. Of course, I could be very wrong, and I will probably lose a lot of money if this happens. So don't follow me or anyone else blindly. But I think that this is really the highest probability scenario. How this will play out, we don't know, obviously. And I'm not trying to guess, as always. And actually, I think right now it's very simple. the whole situation and what I'm going to do. Let me just show you. If you go back to the monthly chart, and we see that for the closes of the year, we have quite a significant support level. Let me just delete this one. Around, so what is this, 14K. So around 14K, definitely you can see here that there's a couple of years and another reaction here in 2019. And I think this is a very significant level. So if we're going to have another leg down, currently we're at that 16, 17K, I would say. Another leg down to 14K, it won't be unreasonable, I think. And even if we have like a catalyst, maybe if we bounce a little bit more to 18K and then get down to 14K, definitely that's, I think, very possible and very plausible that this will happen. And if we go to a weekly and try to find confluence here with some fib extensions to the 14K area, the one obvious that I'm seeing is from the top here, from the all-time high. This was the first leg down pretty much that we had, the big leg down. And as you can see here on the 100% extension, this is around 12K. And then if we use this next one for the next leg down, another extension, it might get a little bit messy here, but just stay with me. And if we use just the last one, collapse of the FTX, with the insignificant bounce that we had here, you'll see that there's not that many areas of confluence between these fibs. You can try and draw them, differently if you wish, if you think there's some better options there. But what I see here is an area again around 12K, around 11K. So not too far from 14K. And actually, if we look at some closes from previous cycles, definitely, again, this area around 12K also stands out as a high probability area. But the reality is that I don't really care if we get to 14K or 12K or even 10K. Actually, 10K, I think, will be a blessing. And I really don't care for one specific reason. Let me show you. I'm going to be buying Bitcoin, and you know, guys, that I have been accumulating small portions. And as we go lower, I'll be buying more and more dollar cost average my way into this year for sure. And the reason being is, first of all, nobody knows when the bottom will be, and it's impossible to try and time it. Actually, it's, I think, stupid to try and time it. You can just increase your size on high probability areas, like I just showed you, 14K, 12K, or whatever. However, you won't time the bottom, and also you don't need to do this to make money, because let me show you something very important, just to put things into perspective. If we measure here, let's say Bitcoin goes to $10,000, and then we have another run in the coming years to the all-time high. This is 560% approximately gains. Let's say, although you didn't buy at 10K because you were too scared, but you managed to buy something around 12K, and the gains to the same all-time high are around $460. 460%. And let's say you are even more scared at 12K and you just bought something around 14K, if we get there, of course. That would be 370%. As you can see, the difference from the bottom to the top is like 200%, which is not small amount, don't get me wrong. But still, if I manage to get my cost average down to 14K, and if we get to the all-time high, previous all-time high, and I'm 400% up, almost 400%, I'm fine. You know, I made it. I made a good trade. It doesn't matter if I didn't catch the bottom. And if you do dollar cost average all the way through here, you will be able to bring your cost average somewhere around 400 and 500% if we get to a new all-time high. So really, this is, first of all, a way to remove stress, to just buy at different levels. And also, when you put this into perspective, are you seriously going to be sorry for not buying 10K if you bought at 14K and we get to the all-time high? This is, again, not a small difference, but it's not like you didn't make a good trade. So don't blame yourself and don't think that everyone is going to get perfect entries here. So that's really my plan. And of course, if we get a quick washout, like what we had with FTX, down to 15K, to 12K, to 10K, this is where I'm really going to be going heavy. It's going to be hard. I know. We talked about this, but still I'm going to do it because I know that the probability is there for us to recover, especially if it's a sorry guys, if it's a fast washout. And if we go lower, I would definitely leave some ammo to 8K, 7K, which I think is very low probability, but definitely I'm not completely excluding it. And that's why all the way through here, I'm not going to be going all in. I'm just planning to increase my size. And if you feel scared, that's fine. You know, if you don't want to trade this area, again, looking for breakouts and reverse of the trend, because as you can see here, we are in this downward channel. Maybe you can use this level. So if we break above this, and if we start seeing some strength and a potential breakout, let's say I would look at key levels like 22K probably is the first one. And the major one I would be looking is 25K. I think if we break this, probably there's a high probability, unless we have a black swan, obviously. But getting above 25K for me, it will be confirmation and a breath of fresh air that we are probably out of the depths of the accumulation / bear market. And when it comes to the year and what I believe Bitcoin will close at the end of this year, it's really hard to predict, to be honest. I was looking at this data, and the red arrows here that you are seeing are the halvings and when is the next halving. So let me just jump into the monthly chart. We're going to see it a little bit better. So last halving here was last halving was actually here in May of 2020. The previous one was in July of 2016. And every time before a halving, we have a run up. And this is actually what we're seeing now also with Litecoin, because it's going to have its halving next year somewhere in May. And you can see that there's a very clear pattern that before every, let me just show you from here. Before every halving, we have a run up in anticipation. And this has always signaled the beginning of an entire brand new bull trend. Is this going to happen again? We don't know, obviously, but I think this will be the catalysts, the final catalyst that will get people excited. And what I'm seeing as most probable is that we get another leg down. We watch out a lot of the weekends somewhere in this area, and then we have a big fat nothing happening here for quite a while. And then somewhere towards the end of the year, I think the trend will start shifting and accelerating towards the excitement of the next halving, which is in May 2024. And realistically, I believe that we probably won't be out of this range that I mentioned. So I don't think we're going to break 24K that easily, but we're going to get near this area towards the end of this year. And in preparation of the halving, people will start getting a little bit more bullish. And even if we have a recession, I think we will know in this half of the year, the first half of the year. And if we have a recession here, definitely, probably most of the pain will be in the first half, and then people will just start capitulating, and people will start buying back. The smart money will start buying back in the middle and in the second half of this year, sorry. And then we go I'm expecting to see a little bit of a run up here. So yeah, that's my prediction for this year. Probably around 24K, 22, 24K. I think it's realistic. Obviously, this is pure speculation. This is not guaranteed in any way that's going to happen. But yeah, I think it's very, very, very probable. That's everything for now. Let me just check if there are any questions in chat, and we can go through those. Thoughts on Solana? Should I sell and invest it in Ether and Bitcoin? If you should sell or not, I cannot tell you this, obviously. I do keep my Solana. I have it. I have just a rider, free rider, pretty much. I sold a lot of my Solana for profits all through the back end of this trend and through the bull cycle. I think it will survive. I definitely think it has space to survive. Currently, we're in a zone where there's a lot of reactions, even in the past. If we go to the daily, you'll be able to see that here in this area around $13, $14, there are a lot of reactions. We could have another leg down. I'm not going to be surprised if we go down to $3 or $4, which was the previous accumulation low. Usually outs do like 95 retracements, 95% retracements down from their all-time high. And this one is already at, where's that? Almost 95%. Yeah. I think most of the FUD around Solana has subsided, and it really depends now on their team and how they're going to market, and are they going to push and have products like their phone and physical stores, and how they're going to deal with the NFT situations and some of the most popular projects moving to Ethereum. I'm not sure if this is going to hit a new all-time high ever again. We have other projects like this, like for example, EOS is a good one, I think. EOS never had a second run up like the first one. This is not a full chart history, but anyway, so maybe it will have another run up together with everything, but I'm not that optimistic, let's say, for Solana anymore. I used to be. I'm moderately optimistic, but I'm not expecting crazy gains unless there's a catalyst for this. It will be still a hedge against inflation. This okay, yeah, you're talking about Bitcoin. Can Dogecoin be saved by Elon and Twitter? I think Dogecoin is not going anywhere. Just the community that they have is so strong, and through the years it has been proven to recover so many times. And people don't remember Dogecoin before this Elon pump, but let me just show you. We were trading this somewhere around here. Look at this. This is back in 2018. We still had big pops here and there, but after Elon joined, it was just insane, the gain. So I don't think Dogecoin needs saving. Probably if Elon does something that it adopts it with of a payment methods one way or another in Twitter, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities. And I don't think this could not turn into an accumulation range right here and then have another leg up to $1 or whatever. But still, I think the best years of Doge are behind it, and it will be really difficult to move it such many crazy percentage points as it used to be. So I don't think it needs saving, short answer. What dominance level are we looking at for 12, 14K? Any signs of out relief at a new level? I don't know, to be honest. The total 2 on total 1, I'm not sure if we have the dominance chart here on TradingView. I haven't looked at it in a while, to be honest. There it is. Now, I think outs will sell together with Bitcoin, obviously, but as you can see in the past months, we have been pretty stagnant, and I don't think this will change, to be honest. There has been a lot of projects that came up. Ethereum has been gaining a lot of strength, and even at these levels already, I don't think we'll move that much. You know, we're already down like 80% from the top for Bitcoin and 90+% for most altcoins. And until Bitcoin starts showing some relative signs of strength or of accumulation, I don't think any of the outs will have a run, unless we have random pops like we even have nowadays for news events or whatever. Like this project, Lido, I wanted to look into it in the coming weeks, but you can see it had a nice pop here and there. I don't know what's the reason behind this. But definitely we could see stuff like this, but overall dominance, I don't think it will change. Do you trade crypto futures? I do very rarely. Mostly I use it for hedges. But if I see a good setup, or if I have the time to trade more actively, because that's not a full-time job for me, so I have a separate life. I have a real life outside of crypto, and I don't really have time to trade futures that much. But definitely, if I'm in the mood and if I have the time and I see a setup, I'll take it. XRP and XLM bullish for 2023. As I mentioned, I'm not really bullish on any altcoin. I'm just accumulating some. If we look into XRP, obviously there's a catalyst there with the SEC. We don't know what's going to happen. But as you can see, the chart is pretty much crap. We're hanging at this level around 30 cents. If it breaks, there could be another lower leg down to 20 cents here. So just another altcoin for now. If there's a positive catalyst, maybe we get a nice run. But again, I think it won't be long-lived unless we're back in a crypto bull run. Okay, what else? What do you think about FET, WMT, and other AI tokens? I haven't looked yet into the AI tokens. I see this starting to get a little bit more noise because of the whole buzz around AI in the past months. I need to research this. This could be a trend, definitely. Like, I'm really big fan of L2s, decentralized exchanges that trade perpetually with leverage, bridges, potentially NFT platforms. This is definitely another narrative that could play out. I'm still haven't had the time to research such tokens. I will take a look and probably do videos later about this or post it in chat. But yeah, right now, maybe you can look at the chart real quick. I don't know if they have good history. If it's listed on Coinbase, that's always a good sign. It has been for quite a while now. So this definitely had a cycle. If we see from the bottom here to the top, like almost 3000% gains. So this had already had a cycle. It's been having accumulation. This is obviously a sympathy play to all the chat GPT that's happening. So definitely positive strength here on the chart. But I want this to hold. I want this to hold and form a little bit higher accumulation because the next level is somewhere around here. And if we see a chart, I'm definitely going to be trading those. But for accumulation, I need to do a little bit more research, which I haven't done yet. I don't see any other questions in the queue, guys. So yeah, if you have any further questions, you know how to find me, obviously. And if not, I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye.